Hi, my name's Ellie. I'm 16 and I have diagnosed Tourette Syndrome. I don't know why I'm doing a thumbs up. So I thought I'd share my story a little bit. I was diagnosed last summer with Tourette's. Yeah, let's get started. Please go follow my Tick account, Comic Ticks. I post relatable content about tics and Tourette's, and hopefully some people feel more recognized, because Tourette's is kind of something that isn't really taught about that much, and a lot of people think it's just swearing, but it's really so much more than that. And I'm hoping that my comic account and my YouTube account can help spread awareness and break some of the negative stigmas we have on Tourette syndrome and just tics in general. So I've had tics my whole life. I didn't really realize that there was something wrong with me. I just thought it was a normal thing. I remember talking about it with my sister when we were little. But when I was in 7th grade, that's when it started getting really bad. Last summer, I was diagnosed with Tourette's. It was expected, but I wasn't really ready for it. But my tics started getting bad in 7th grade. I remember sitting in I've got a little fidget here. Little hair clip. They're really fun to play with, and they help me with tics. But I remember sitting in my 7th grade science room, and we were doing a project together, me and these 3 girls, and they were all talking, and I couldn't stop jerking my head around. That was one of the first major tics that really got me to start noticing, and I couldn't stop jerking my head around, and the teacher's like, everybody settle down. And since I wasn't settling down, I got my name written on the board for detention. And I was like, God, what is wrong with me? Why am I moving like this? What am I doing? What's wrong? Because, it's happened before, but not that bad. And so, I have to stay after class, but I'm, freaking out. Because I'm wondering why was I doing that? So yeah, I stay after class and I go up to him and I say, hey, can I go home? I have to study. I don't even know what my excuse was. And he was like, blah, 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 lecture. And I went to the bathroom, and I remember standing there with tears in my eyes. I'm very sensitive, so when I found out that I had detention, I was not emotionally okay, but I remember standing there with tears in my eyes just wondering, what's wrong with me? And that's really when it all started. Months later, I went to my yearly checkup, and I talked to my doctor about it after talking to my mom about it, and I thought I was completely crazy. I did not know what was up. And she's like, yeah, we'll get you an appointment with a neurologist. And I was like, wow, is it a real thing or something? And I remember doing research on it, and I was like, Tourette's. And that's the first time, that word had ever come up to me, Tourette syndrome. And I was very scared. I did not want anything to do with that. After reading that there's not really a cure for it, I just pushed it out of my mind. Out of sight, out of mind. I did not want that word near me. So I ended up talking to a neurologist. She told me I probably didn't have Tourette's, which I was so happy about. And so I started doing therapy for tic suppression. Now, tic suppression is kind of a controversial thing in the tic community, because it feels really bad, and you get all tired afterwards, and it can be very painful. But I started doing therapy for it. I'm still doing the therapy. I find it helpful at times where I really shouldn't be ticking, but it is really uncomfortable and hard to control. One night, I could not stop moving my face as a tic. I kept moving my lip up like that. I couldn't stop, and it was every second. And my mom was really worried, and I was really worried, and I almost went to the doctor again because it was like so scary because I didn't know what was wrong with me. And a few months after that, I got diagnosed with Tourette Syndrome. Hi, I'm back. It's a different day. I'm wearing different clothes. Woo, woo. I decided to take a break and go out with my friends. Fun. I decided to try medication because my tics were getting so unbearable. I couldn't do school, I couldn't focus, I couldn't sleep. They were keeping me up at night. So we decided to try some medication, and when I was on the call with the doctor, he was like talking about the medication that I was going to be on and the side effects. And we were about to leave, and I was like, thank God, oh my God, I hate talking to people. It's so scary. And he's like, oh, by the way, Ellie, you've been upgraded to Tourette Syndrome. And I just froze. I remember the feeling. It's just like thinking about it makes me want to cry. It was just like so unexpected, and the way he said it was so insincere. So of course I'm sitting there like shocked, and I start crying. 'Cause the whole time I was holding on to the fact that I didn't have Tourette's and my tics would go away and they'd get better. And everyone kept telling me, no, you don't have it, you're fine. And I held on to that, and all of a sudden it was just taken from me. And I felt like my whole world was crumbling. So we eventually hang up the call, and I'm just sitting there crying. And my mom tells me, it's just a diagnosis. You're always going to be Ellie, and you're always going to be the same person no matter what you have. Tourette's isn't going to change you. And at the time, I was like, don't talk to me, I'm upset. But now that I think about it, she was very correct. And that's why I created my comic account and this YouTube, so I can inform people, and hopefully people can relate, because Tourette's isn't talked about enough. And there's so many negative stigmas about it, and it's just, we need to start educating people and ourselves. I eventually told my friends. It was really hard for me. I told them the night that I was diagnosed, but for like a month or two, I couldn't even say the word. I couldn't say it without feeling sick. So every time like someone would say like I have Tourette syndrome, I would be like, nope, I have tics, which is true, but so I finally know what's wrong with me, and I finally can understand what I can do to help myself. But for some reason, things don't click into place like I thought they would. Here I am at 16, still struggling. I still can barely fall asleep some nights, and none of the medication I'm trying is working, and it makes me feel awful. Why aren't things coming into place? I guess it's kind of something you have to realize, that there's not always going to be a happy ending, and sometimes you're going to have to work with the way the things fit. Like, find positives in the negatives. Like, that's really stupid, but the new medication I'm trying is kind of working, and my friends are helping me with my tics, and I've been falling asleep earlier, and I've been finding ways to stop my tic attacks, and people have been giving me very helpful information and stories that make me feel a little less alone. If you have tics or Tourette's, I want you to feel less alone, and I'm totally here for you. And if you ever need to talk, go to my DMs. I might take a little while to respond because I have anxiety, and I'm like, oh my God, what if they hate me? But I'll totally respond, and I'd love to talk to you. I actually made a really good friend who has tics on Instagram. But yeah, that's my story with Tourette's. It's not that great, but not everything has a good story, and not everything has a good ending. But I'm gonna use my bad ending, that hasn't even been an ending yet, to hopefully make other people a little more comfortable. Because your tics are valid, and even if you don't have Tourette's, your tics are still valid. I know that's something that a lot of people struggle with. People saying they have Tourette's, and if they don't have Tourette's, they are just faking. No. I hope I made you feel a little less alone if you have tics, and if you don't have tics, I hope that I can help you understand. I'm gonna put out more videos. I really like animating, which is something I'm working on, comics. Please go follow my comic account. I put up helpful information about tics and Tourette's there too. I like to ask people what they do to help themselves when they're having a tic attack, so that might be helpful for you. Yeah, I hope you have a really good day. Go outside, hopefully. It's really nice out today, but I know that people live in different places and the weather's different. That's the most profound thing I've ever said. But yeah, try to get outside, get some air, and I hope you have a good day. I kind of want to be there for people. Woo! My chair's bendy. I know I'm gonna make myself fall. Dogs with goggles. Woo woo. 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 Puppy. Woo. Cricket. Woo. Cricket. 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 Powdered milk kind of tastes like astronaut ice cream.